Anybody know when you're cooking with herbs, what's the ratio of dry versus a fresh herb? So if your recipe calls for fresh herb and you don't have it, and you choose to use dry, how do you cut it down?
1 to 3.
1/3, exactly. So if it calls for a tablespoon of fresh, it'd be a teaspoon of dry, because dried herbs are far more pungent. And it's a good idea. You notice that I'm not just sprinkling, but I'm squishing them. That's a French term, squishing them. Squish them there between your hands. Sometimes rub them through the palms too to bring out the oils in it. This is one of the bestest herbs that mixture that's out there, and that's reasonable. This whole bag's like $7.99, so it'll last a good 6 months. Anybody a Rachel Ray fan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, she irritates me. She's just too damn perky. She's too excited all the time. But the thing I love about her is that a couple of things. First of all, anybody can get people out of the drive-thru and into the kitchen is a good thing. So that's a good thing. And it certainly benefits you ladies and gentlemen who grow your own herbs and your own vegetables and things. The other thing I like about her is that she takes all of her dried spices once every 6 months and creates a dry rub out of it. So, because they're really only supposed to last about 6 months, maybe a year tops. So she makes a dry herb out of it. The other thing she does is in her refrigerator, all those jars and bottles that you have with little dribs and drabs of ketchup and mustard and maybe maple syrup and those kinds of things, she actually throws it all in together and creates a barbecue sauce once every 6 months. I do the same thing. I call it refrigerator barbecue sauce. Now the good news is it's wonderful to taste. Bad news is you can never replicate it because you never know what to put in. But that's a good thing. So once every 6 months you get something a little new to work with. Anyway, I've got these in the oven here for probably only going to be about 4 or 5 minutes. Dennis is going to take a look at them and get those out when they're done. I just want salmon to be just barely cooked. And then we're going to serve with the pesto. So I'm going to make some pesto for you here. We're going to use, by the way, I said that you can make a lot of things into pesto. Anything that is an herb that has a good leaf on it is going to work well. So rosemary is not going to work really well as a pesto because it's more of a needle versus a leaf. You can make a parsley pesto. Thyme, I wouldn't necessarily, by the way, I have asked Harriet about 1,000,000 times. She's supposed to be figuring out the difference between the thyme. Sometimes you get thyme and it's these beautiful sticks that are like this and they're easy to pick off, and then other times it looks like this, which is all wispy and it's a pain in the rear end to pick off. She still hasn't come up with the answer to that. Thyme is one of those things. By the way, when you have somebody over to your house and you're doing the entertaining and you're doing the cooking, you should always plan for something for that one person to do that wants to help. Okay, there's always, you know who it is. It's the person. They just irritate you. They're getting everything in your out of order. So get something for them to do. For me, it's my mother-in-law, and it's thyme. I make her pick thyme off the leaves. The thyme leaves off the stems every time she comes over, regardless of whether we're having thyme or not. It's such a beautiful looking cilantro. It doesn't cilantro or cilantro. It doesn't like this warm weather. It doesn't like to be changed. It doesn't like to really be cut. Right now I've got all of these in a little water. By the way, cilantro makes a great pesto. So you can just make sure you mark it cilantro because it certainly is significantly different than your basil cilantro. And then this one is curly leaf parsley. This is useless parsley. Don't ever buy this. Don't grow it. It's good. Oh, I shouldn't say that. It's good for if you're going to chew it and freshen your breath. It's good for that and decoration at Publix between the trays. That's about it. It doesn't have much use to it. Mint makes a great pesto too. So if you're somebody especially who likes lamb or pork or a combination of the two, lamb pesto is awesome. And it's fairly actually easy, fairly decent to easy to grow. And then this one down here is I brought some tarragon, fresh tarragon. Fresh tarragon is great in anything that's white. So pork, chicken, cream sauces, anything like that. Eggs, tarragon goes really well with it. People say it has a little licorice flavor to me. I don't think it has that much, but it is used sparingly. This and rosemary are one of those things that I think you kind of have to use pretty sparingly, regardless of whether it's dry or fresh. They are an acquired taste. All right. And I got ma'am.
On the tarragon.
Yes.
Do you use the flowers or just the leaves?
Typically, you would use the leaves, but you can use all of these herbs. Your question was, do you use the leaves or the flowers? I would say that they're used in two different applications. The leaves themselves are going to be where most of the flavor is. Flowers of all of these, and most of these do in fact flower, are used more for decoration, but can all be eaten too. You're going to get the strongest flavor out of the leaves. And so that kind of leads, what Bea was asking here, leads me to when you're harvesting. Most of you know already, if you want your bush to continue to produce leaves, you need to pick the buds off. Okay, especially with basil. Basil, like I said, you only need like two plants and you've got plenty of basil. And just keep picking the buds off. And you have to kind of almost do it almost every day. Get out there because it will grow all back long, and just pick the buds off. The buds don't have any really a lot of flavor to them, but it will allow you to do that. So let me get